Few decisions shape the course of a human life as profoundly as the choice of a partner. We may spend years cultivating skills, gathering wealth, or building a reputation, but one relationship has the power either to magnify those efforts into a life of harmony or to dissolve them into chaos and bitterness. The ancients knew this well. The Stoics, though often caricatured as aloof and detached, spoke frequently about the bonds between people, between parent and child, between friends, between husband and wife. To them, relationships were not distractions from philosophy, but its proving ground. For what is philosophy, if not the art of living well with others? To choose a partner is to choose the soil in which your life will take root. A good soil nourishes. A barren soil stunts growth. The Stoics warn that passion, unchecked by reason, often blinds us to the quality of that soil. Attraction dazzles, desire burns, but neither ensures stability or virtue. Epictetus, ever sharp, reminded his students that love without wisdom is like entrusting your freedom to a tyrant, intoxicating at first, but suffocating in the end. The wrong partner does not simply share your bed, they share your destiny. Modern culture often treats the choice of partner lightly, as though it were one preference among many, like fashion or entertainment. But the Stoics saw it as a moral question. Who you unite your life with will either strengthen or weaken your character. A partner can be a companion in virtue, sharpening you like iron sharpens iron. Or they can be a companion in vice, pulling you into envy, indulgence, and deception. Seneca observed that the soul is dyed by the color of its thoughts. So too is the soul dyed by the company it keeps. To live day after day with someone whose values are corrupt is to invite corruption into your own soul. Yet the Stoics were not cynics. They did not dismiss love, nor reject intimacy. Marcus Aurelius, in his Meditations, wrote tenderly about his gratitude for those who shaped his life, including his wife Faustina. He recognized that relationships were not merely pleasures, but duties, arenas where justice, patience, and kindness could be tested and strengthened. For the Stoic, to choose a partner was not to escape the hardships of life, but to choose a companion with whom to face them. This is the weight of partnership. It magnifies everything. Joys become richer when shared with someone of virtue. Sorrows become bearable when endured alongside a steadfast companion. But likewise, vices multiply when indulged together. Self-deception grows stronger when reinforced by another. The wrong partner does not merely double your burdens, they twist them into something heavier still. To choose poorly is not just to risk unhappiness. It is to risk becoming someone you no longer recognize. And so the Stoic asks us to pause before passion, to look beneath appearances, and to ask, does this person make me better? Do they strengthen my pursuit of wisdom, justice, courage, and temperance? Or do they lead me away from them? For in the end, the question of choosing a partner is the question of choosing the shape of your soul. This is why Stoicism, far from being cold or detached, offers some of the most profound guidance on love. It refuses to flatter us with illusions. It demands that we see love not as escape or entertainment, but as the most serious of commitments, the union of two lives in pursuit of virtue. Anything less will, sooner or later, end in regret. In the parts that follow, we will unfold this Stoic vision of partnership, not to strip love of its beauty, but to reveal its deeper foundation. For beauty fades, passion cools, fortune shifts. Only virtue endures. And a good partner, the Stoics teach us, is one whose life is woven with yours in the shared pursuit of that enduring good. Passion is a flame, brilliant, consuming, dazzling in its light. But like any flame, it burns quickly, leaving ashes behind if not tended with wisdom. The Stoics, never blind to human nature, warned that passion in itself is not a trustworthy guide in choosing a partner. For passion, in its urgency, persuades us to act as though the temporary were eternal, as though desire itself were enough to sustain a lifetime. Yet the Stoics remind us, What begins in fire must endure in stone, or else it collapses. Epictetus, whose teachings cut sharply against illusions, was clear. When you kiss your child, whisper to yourself that he may die tomorrow. This was not cruelty, but clarity, a reminder that everything external is fragile. The same applies to passion. To fall in love is natural, but to build a life upon passion alone is folly. The Stoics knew that passion blinds judgment, distorts reason, and magnifies qualities that may not endure. A charming smile, a graceful body, a thrilling excitement. These dazzle the senses, but reveal nothing of character. And it is character, not passion, that shapes the years to come. Seneca went further, cautioning against being swept away by the sweetness of pleasures. His warning was not against love itself, but against confusing love with intoxication. He observed that many are lovers of love, addicted not to the person before them, but to the thrill of desire itself. Such unions burn brightly, but quickly fall apart, leaving regret in their wake. For regret often arrives when the fire cools and one discovers that there was nothing beneath it. The Stoics instead elevate a different vision of love, not the fleeting rush of eros alone, but the enduring bond of philia and agape, friendship and goodwill grounded in virtue. Marcus Aurelius, though emperor, often reflected in his private writings on the importance of sincerity, patience, and shared values. He did not praise beauty or wealth in companions, but integrity and kindness. For the Stoics, true love is not escape but partnership. Two souls striving together toward virtue, correcting one another, encouraging one another, enduring hardship side by side. To see beyond passion is to see the person as they are, not as desire paints them. A Stoic asks, what happens when beauty fades, when wealth is lost, when fortune turns? Will the bond endure, or will it dissolve with the fading of appearances? The answer reveals whether the love is passion or something deeper. Passion clings to surfaces, virtue clings to essence. This is not to deny the place of passion. The Stoics were human, not stone. They recognized the sweetness of love, the joy of affection, the power of intimacy. But they insisted that these must rest upon reason, not replace it. As Epictetus would remind his students, the question is always, does this strengthen your soul or weaken it? If passion leads to negligence of virtue, it is poison. If passion harmonizes with virtue, it is blessing. Consider two couples. The first is bound by passion alone. They are intoxicated by one another, but they quarrel constantly, their desires pulling them in conflicting directions. When fortune shifts, when hardship comes, or beauty fades, the bond unravels. Regret follows, sharp and bitter. The second couple is bound by both affection and virtue. They delight in one another, but their love is guided by shared values. When hardships come, they endure together. When beauty fades, they cherish the soul that does not fade. For them, passion is not master but servant, a warmth that enriches, not a fire that consumes. The Stoic vision of love, then, is not cold detachment, but clarity. It insists that passion be tested by reason, that beauty be measured against character, that desire be judged by virtue. For passion fades, but virtue endures, and the partner chosen for virtue will remain a companion in both joy and suffering, in health and in decay, in youth and in age. To choose beyond passion is therefore the second step in choosing wisely. For passion may kindle the beginning, but only virtue sustains the journey. And the Stoics, more than any, teach us that the journey is long, often hard, and filled with trials. To face such a journey, one needs not merely a lover, but a fellow traveler of the soul. The human eye is easily deceived. We are drawn to symmetry, to wealth, to charm, to the signals of status that society teaches us to admire. Yet none of these, the Stoics remind us, guarantee goodness. Beauty fades, fortune shifts, charm conceals as much as it reveals. And still, people choose their partners upon these foundations, and later wonder why their union collapses when tested. The The Stoics, ruthless in their clarity, demanded a higher standard. Choose not by appearance, but by virtue. Epictetus warned, when you are attracted to a person, do not say how fine they are of body, but look instead at their character. For if their mind is crooked, the beauty of the body will not keep you safe. Here is the Stoic wisdom in its most piercing form. Appearances may enchant, but they cannot protect. A beautiful face cannot make a selfish heart generous. A wealthy household cannot make a greedy soul content. A charming voice cannot make a liar truthful. The essence of a person lies not in what dazzles, but in how they live when no one is watching. Seneca too saw the danger of external allure. Writing to Lucilius, he criticized those who judged men and women by possessions or status, calling it poverty of soul. He argued that true wealth lies in virtue alone. To bind your life to one who lacks it is to invite poverty of soul into your own household. For, as he noted, the spirit is dyed by the color of its companions. Choose a partner for their vanity, and soon your own spirit will take its hue. Marcus Aurelius, emperor though he was, reflected often on the futility of externals. He reminded himself daily that the reputation, wealth, and beauty are fleeting, that they belong not to the essence of a man, but to fortune's shifting winds. What endures, he insisted, is character, courage, justice, temperance, wisdom. These alone cannot be stripped away. A partner chosen for these qualities becomes a true ally in life's trials. All else is decoration, and decoration cannot support the weight of a life. Why then do so many still choose based on appearance? Because appearance offers immediate pleasure, while virtue requires patience to perceive. It is easy to be dazzled by beauty across a room. It takes time to discern patience in adversity, kindness in conflict, humility in success. Yet the Stoics warn, the choice of a partner is not for a moment but for a lifetime. To choose quickly on appearances is to gamble years for the sake of minutes. Regret is often the price. Consider the man who weds for beauty. For a season, he delights in appearances, but soon discovers that beauty does not soften anger, nor cure selfishness, nor inspire loyalty. Or the woman who marries for wealth. For a time, she enjoys comfort, but soon finds that gold cannot make a cruel soul tender, nor a restless soul faithful. Both awaken to the same truth. What dazzled them at first cannot sustain them in hardship. The result is not only disappointment, but regret. Regret that they looked with the eyes alone, not with the soul. Virtue, by contrast, does not fade. A man or woman of character grows richer with age, their worth deepened by trials endured, their wisdom sharpened by years. The beauty of the body may diminish, but the beauty of a virtuous soul only brightens. To share life with such a partner is to walk with someone who steadies you in storm, who elevates you in peace, who sharpens your pursuit of wisdom simply by their presence. The Stoics therefore urge us to test appearances with reason. When drawn to someone's charm, ask, how do they act under stress? When fortune is unkind, do they complain or endure? When offered advantage, do they grasp greedily or act with justice? These questions reveal more than any surface can, for surfaces are temporary, but responses to life's trials expose the soul. This teaching is not meant to strip love of joy, but to ground it in reality. Passion without virtue is a fire that burns out. Passion with virtue is a hearth that warms for a lifetime. To choose a partner by appearance alone is to invite regret. To choose by virtue is to invite peace. The Stoics, committed to truth above all, refuse to flatter us with illusions. They remind us that the good partner is not the one who dazzles our eyes, but the one who strengthens our soul. And so, the third step in choosing wisely is clear. Look beyond appearance. Seek the essence. For beauty, wealth, and status are loans from fortune. Character is the true possession of the soul. Choose the soul, and you choose what endures. Choose the surface, and you gamble your life upon shadows. To walk with another through life is not merely to share a roof, a table, or a bed. It is to share a path. And if the paths diverge at their foundation, the journey becomes one of conflict, resentment, and regret. The Stoics understood this deeply. They warned that harmony cannot be built upon trivial agreements, common hobbies, mutual pleasures, or fleeting passions. True harmony rests upon something deeper, a union of values and alignment of purpose. Seneca wrote that no good man is happy if what he delights in is not also good. This insight cuts directly to the question of partnership. If one delights in virtue and the other in vice, how can they remain together without tearing at each other's souls? If one values justice while the other schemes for advantage, if one seeks temperance while the other pursues indulgence, if one treasures wisdom while the other scorns it, the result is not companionship but corrosion. Shared pleasures may soothe for a season, but conflicting values will erode the bond over years. The Stoics remind us that values, not tastes, form the true center of a person. Tastes shift with fashion. Pleasures fade with age, but values, justice, honesty, courage, temperance, wisdom, these shape every decision, every reaction, every response to the trials of life. A partner who shares these values will stand firm beside you, not because the road is easy, but because the road is chosen together. Without such alignment, every hardship will pull you apart. Marcus Aurelius reflected often on the interconnectedness of human beings, reminding himself that we were made for cooperation. Marriage, then, is not merely an arrangement of affection, but the most intimate cooperation possible. And cooperation demands unity of purpose. To unite with one who does not share your values is to bind yourself to conflict, for your purposes will forever diverge. Consider two travelers tied together by rope. If both walk in the same direction, their progress is steady, even if the terrain is rough. But if one pulls toward the mountain and the other toward the valley, the rope becomes a source of pain. So too in marriage. Shared values direct the journey. Without them, even prosperity becomes discord and misfortune becomes unbearable. This principle explains why many relationships collapse despite strong attraction or shared interests. A couple may both enjoy music, travel, or laughter, but when crises arrive, these are not enough. Illness, financial hardship, betrayal, the loss of loved ones, these are the true tests of partnership. And in those moments, only shared values can hold the bond firm. A partner who values courage will not flee in adversity. A partner who values justice will not betray when temptation arises. A partner who values wisdom will not sink into folly when the world trembles. Shared pleasures may comfort, shared values sustain. Epictetus urged his students to examine not only their own desires, but also those of others, for the company we keep shapes our soul. The greater the difficulty, he said, the more glory in surmounting it. But how can two people surmount difficulties together if one despises struggle while the other embraces it? How can they endure hardship if one seeks virtue and the other only comfort? Such mismatched purposes turn difficulty into division. To the Stoic, then, the essential question is not, do we enjoy the same things? But, do we revere the same truths? Not, do we laugh together? But, do we live by the same compass? Laughter fades when trials arrive, but a shared compass points true even in darkness. This does not mean that values must be identical in detail. One may love philosophy, the other music. One may prefer solitude, the other company. These are differences of taste, but in the deeper matters, honesty, justice, humility, courage, there must be unity. For without it, the bond will fracture under weight. A good partner, in Stoic terms, is not merely agreeable, but aligned. They need not mirror your preferences, but they must honor the same principles. For what you seek together is not a life of ease, but a life of virtue. The Stoic view of partnership is not romance without purpose, but companionship with direction. Therefore, the fourth step in choosing wisely is to look not at pleasure shared, but at value shared. For pleasures may brighten a season, but values sustain a lifetime. The partner who shares your path of virtue will not only walk beside you, but strengthen you, sharpening your courage, steadying your justice, deepening your wisdom. And together, when life's storms break, you will endure, not as two divided, but as one united in purpose. Now some exciting news. Our channel now offers a members club. By joining it, you'll unlock exclusive benefits, deeper content dives, and personal insights. Join us on this journey, and let's build a meaningful life together. And I also humbly ask you to leave a comment, as it helps my channel immensely. If you do not know what to comment, just write "better every day" so I know you reached this far. And don't forget to subscribe for more content like this. Also, I've linked some books on Stoicism that helped me become the man I am today, and will also help you achieve a Stoic mindset. The Stoics, more than any other philosophers, were relentless in reminding us that reason must guide our choices if we wish to live without regret. Love, though, is often the domain where reason is least welcome. Men and women rush headlong into unions, carried by passion, intoxicated by desire, clouded by dreams of happiness that dissolve when tested by time. The Stoics saw this not as romance, but as negligence, the failure to use the very faculty that distinguishes us from beasts, the power of reason. Epictetus, in his sharp manner, urged his students always to ask, "Is this within my control? What lies in my judgment, and what lies in fortune?" Applied to choosing a partner, the question becomes, am I seeing clearly, or am I blinded by what I cannot control? Beauty, charm, wealth, reputation. Am I judging the soul, or merely its decorations? Reason insists that we examine, not only feel. To choose with reason is not to extinguish affection, but to ensure that affection is joined to truth. Seneca warned often of the madness of desire. He observed that passion makes slaves of men who believe themselves free. They think they are choosing when in fact they are being dragged by impulse. For him, the true act of freedom is the act of judgment, to pause, to examine, to ask what is good not only for today, but for a lifetime. Reason transforms choice from accident into intention. Without reason, love becomes a gamble. With reason, it becomes a discipline. Marcus Aurelius, in his Meditations, returned again and again to the need for clarity. Do not let the voice of others or your own passions mislead you from what is right. In the matter of choosing a partner, this clarity is essential. Friends, family, culture may press for choices based on wealth, beauty, or status. Passion may demand immediate surrender, but reason whispers, wait. See how this person endures hardship, treats others, responds to injustice. See how they live when the moment of display is past. This observation is not coldness, but wisdom. For what we seek is not a moment of delight, but a lifetime of companionship. To choose with reason is also to resist illusion. Desire often magnifies virtues and hides faults. The Stoics practiced a technique called premeditatio malorum, the premeditation of evils. They imagined in advance what could go wrong, so that they would not be surprised when it did. Applied to love, this means asking, what flaws does this person have, and can I live with them? If fortune turns, will their character remain? If beauty fades, if wealth vanishes, if hardship strikes, will they endure with me or collapse? Reason looks at the whole, not only the surface. Modern culture often confuses reason with cynicism. To pause, to test, to examine a potential partner is seen as cold or calculating. But the Stoics would argue the opposite. It is the highest form of respect, respect for oneself, for the other, and for the gravity of the commitment. Marriage or partnership is not a game, but a union of destinies. To enter blindly is to dishonor both lives. To enter with reason is to honor the weight of the bond. Consider the one who chooses by impulse. At first, joy abounds, but soon reality intrudes. The flaws they refuse to see emerge, the values they ignored clash, the illusions they cherished dissolve. Regret follows, not because love itself is false, but because it was never examined. Contrast this with the one who chooses with reason. They too experience passion, but they test it with patience. They examine character, align values, and prepare for hardship. When storms come, as they always do, they are not surprised. Their choice holds firm because it was made not in blindness, but in clarity. The Stoics remind us that reason is not the enemy of love, but its guardian. Passion alone burns hot, but dies quickly. Reason shapes passion into endurance. To choose a partner with reason is not to strip the union of warmth, but to ensure that warmth endures. For when reason guides love, passion is not extinguished but purified, freed from illusion, bound to virtue, strengthened against time. Thus, the fifth step in choosing wisely is to let reason lead. Desire may call, appearances may dazzle, culture may pressure, but reason asks, will this bond strengthen my soul? Will it make me more just, more courageous, more temperate, more wise? If the answer is no, then however sweet the moment, bitterness will follow. If the answer is yes, then the bond, though imperfect, will endure with strength. For the Stoics, love without reason is slavery. Love with reason is freedom. And freedom, above all, is the soil in which virtue grows. To the Stoics, philosophy was never an abstract game of words. It was training, a daily discipline, an exercise of the soul. And where better to test philosophy than in the closest, most enduring human bond? Marriage, or any deep partnership, is not merely companionship. It is a school of patience, of discipline, of humility, of love rightly ordered. In solitude, one may imagine oneself virtuous. In partnership, illusion ends. Seneca observed that no man can live happily or even live at all without the help of others. He did not mean merely that we require bread or shelter, but that our character is shaped in the forge of relationships. Alone, anger may slumber. With a partner, anger awakens and demands mastery. Alone, generosity is untested. With a partner, selfishness reveals itself and must be overcome. Alone, integrity may seem easy. With a partner, daily temptations expose whether integrity is genuine or pretense. A partner, then, is not only a companion in pleasure, but a mirror of the soul. Epictetus insisted that we see others as exercises for our virtue. When someone irritates you, he said, realize that you are being tested. The occasion is a training partner. The same applies to marriage. The friction of daily life, disagreements, disappointments, differences, is not evidence of failure, but of opportunity. Each quarrel becomes a lesson in temperance. Each frustration becomes an exercise in patience. Each sacrifice becomes a training in love that is stronger than desire. To the Stoic, these are not annoyances to escape, but disciplines to embrace. Marcus Aurelius, emperor surrounded by intrigue and betrayal, constantly reminded himself to act with justice, patience, and kindness toward others. If he, burdened with the affairs of empire, could see every human interaction as an occasion for virtue, how much more should we see partnership in this light? For in no relationship are we more exposed, more vulnerable, more tested than in the bond of two lives intertwined. And therefore, in no relationship is the opportunity for virtue greater. A good partner, then, is not one who shields us from all difficulty, but one who walks with us into it. Not one who flatters our weaknesses, but one who challenges them. Not one who indulges every passion, but one who steadies us when passions threaten to overwhelm. In this sense, a true partner is like a sparring partner in the gymnasium, not an enemy, but a challenger who makes us stronger through resistance. Modern culture often seeks ease in relationships. The partner who completes us, who removes all friction, who provides endless affirmation. The Stoics would find this dangerous. For ease does not make us virtuous. Challenge does. A partner who never contradicts us leaves our flaws untested. A partner who only indulges us leaves our vices unchecked. It is precisely the trials of partnership, the misunderstandings, the compromises, the sacrifices that refine the soul. To seek only ease is to refuse growth. Yet the Stoics are not advocating misery. They do not suggest we seek partners who delight in conflict or who wound us deliberately. Rather, they call us to see partnership as the arena where our philosophy is lived, not imagined. If we claim to value patience, let us test it in the face of annoyance. If we claim to value justice, let us practice it in daily decisions of fairness. If we claim to value love, let us prove it not in words, but in the endurance of hardships together. In this way, partnership becomes a mutual assent. Each partner sharpens the other. Each calls the other higher, not by force, but by example. Epictetus told his students, "If you wish to improve, be content to be thought foolish and stupid." A partner who embraces virtue will sometimes look foolish in the eyes of the world, choosing honesty over advantage, simplicity over luxury, faithfulness over novelty. But together, two such partners find strength in shared conviction. Their union becomes a school where both graduate wiser, braver, freer than they entered. To choose a partner, then, is to choose your fellow student in the school of virtue. Will they cheat the lessons, or will they endure them with you? Will they encourage you to rise when you falter, or tempt you to sink when you are weary? The answer will determine not only the quality of your marriage, but the quality of your soul. Thus, the sixth step in choosing wisely is to see partnership not as escape from hardship, but as training for it. The good partner is not the one who makes life effortless, but the one who makes you more virtuous in the effort. For in the end, the measure of love is not how pleasant it feels, but how deeply it forms us. And the Stoics, ever faithful to the pursuit of wisdom, saw in partnership not merely the sweetness of affection, but the stern beauty of a shared ascent toward the good. The Stoics, with their unflinching devotion to clarity, warn that we often deceive ourselves not only by what we admire, but also by what we choose to ignore. Love, in its intoxication, tempts us to dismiss flaws as charming quirks, to excuse vices as temporary habits, to overlook dangers in the hope that they will fade with time. But the Stoics insisted character does not transform by wishful thinking. What appears in seed at the beginning will grow in harvest later. Thus, to choose wisely, we must attend not only to virtues, but also to red flags, signs of vice that, if ignored, will ripen into regret. Epictetus often told his students that it is impossible for a man to learn what he thinks he already knows. In choosing a partner, this applies with brutal force. If you believe you can reform another by love alone, you are deceived. The Stoics recognize that people may improve, but not by the compulsion of another's desire. Improvement is the work of the soul upon itself, guided by reason and discipline. To bind your life to one who does not seek this path is to bind yourself to disappointment. What then are the signs the Stoics would caution us against? The first is pride without virtue. Confidence in virtue is strength. Confidence without virtue is arrogance. A proud partner unwilling to admit fault, to learn, to be corrected, will resist growth. Marcus Aurelius wrote repeatedly of the need to welcome correction and to remember that it is possible to be mistaken. A partner who cannot bear correction is a partner who cannot walk the path of wisdom. The second red flag is envy. Seneca warned that envy torments itself. To live with an envious partner is to live with one who resents not only the fortune of others, but eventually your own. Instead of rejoicing in your successes, they will be shadowed by bitterness. Envy corrodes gratitude, and without gratitude, no bond can remain sweet. The third is attachment to luxury. Epictetus cautioned that those who depend upon externals, wealth, beauty, possessions, become slaves to them. A partner consumed by luxury will not endure hardship with patience, for they will always grieve what is lost rather than cherish what remains. When fortune shifts, as it always does, such a soul collapses. To bind yourself to one enslaved by luxury is to ensure that your peace will always be hostage to circumstances beyond your control. Another red flag is lack of self-control. The Stoics valued temperance as one of the cardinal virtues, for without mastery of the self, no other virtue can hold. A partner ruled by anger, lust, or appetite is not master of themselves and therefore cannot be a stable companion. Seneca compared such people to cities without walls, easily overrun, incapable of defense. If the soul is storm-tossed by passion, how can it provide shelter in life's storms? The Stoics also warned against duplicity. A man or woman whose words do not match their deeds cannot be trusted. Marcus Aurelius instructed himself daily to act with simplicity, honesty, and dignity. A partner who deceives others will, sooner or later, deceive you. Truth is the foundation of all partnership. Without it, no house can stand. Finally, there is contempt for philosophy itself. That is, contempt for the pursuit of wisdom and virtue. A partner need not be a Stoic philosopher, but if they scorn the effort to live wisely, if they laugh at temperance, mock justice, despise simplicity, or ridicule patience, then their presence will not only fail to encourage you, but will actively hinder your growth. The Stoics knew that companionship shapes character. To walk daily with one who scorns virtue is to have your pursuit of it poisoned. It is important to note that the Stoics did not demand perfection. No one is free from flaws, not even the philosophers themselves. But they demanded seriousness, a willingness to improve, a humility that admits error, a discipline that resists vice. Red flags become fatal, not because they exist, but because they are denied. A proud person who knows their pride and strives against it may become humble. An envious person who recognizes envy may grow into gratitude. But one who clings to their vices, who justifies them, who scorns correction, such a person cannot be a safe companion. The lesson is harsh but clear. Do not confuse hope with evidence. Do not bind yourself to a partner for who they might become, but for who they are becoming now. The Stoics knew that marriage is not the place for fantasies of reform. It is the place for shared pursuit of virtue. To ignore red flags is not love but folly. And folly, sooner or later, ripens into regret. Therefore, the seventh step in choosing wisely is vigilance. Look not only for virtue, but for vice. Do not deceive yourself that vice ignored will vanish. See it, name it, judge it. For the Stoics remind us that clarity, however painful, is the only safeguard against chains of sorrow later. Better to endure the pain of honesty now than the torment of regret later. In the end, the question of choosing a partner is not about romance alone, nor about companionship as the world defines it. It is about destiny. To bind your life with another is to set the course of your days, to intertwine your virtues and vices, to double your strength or to double your chains. The Stoics, unflinching in their honesty, remind us that this choice is among the most serious of all. For fortune will shape many things in your life, but the partner you choose is a decision, and its consequences are profound. We have seen that passion, while intoxicating, cannot sustain a union on its own. Beauty fades, wealth shifts, pleasures diminish. What endures is virtue. And so, the Stoics urge us to look beyond appearance and passion to the deeper foundation of character. A partner chosen for virtue will not only walk beside you, but will help you walk upright. They will not shield you from hardship, but they will face it with you, turning each trial into training for the soul. Shared values and aligned purposes form the compass of such a partnership. Without them, the bond will fracture under the weight of life's storms. With them, even misfortune can be borne together with dignity. Reason too must guard the choice, clearing away the illusions of desire and society's pressures, so that what remains is a decision rooted in truth, not fantasy. Partnership, the Stoics remind us, is not ease but schooling. It is the arena where patience, justice, courage, and temperance are tested daily. To see it otherwise is to stumble in disappointment. To see it rightly is to embrace its hardships as the very forge of virtue. A good partner is therefore not one who makes life effortless, but one who makes you better, and whom you, in turn, help to become better. But clarity demands we also see the dangers: pride, envy, greed, lack of self-control, dishonesty, and contempt for virtue. These are red flags not to be ignored. For character is not changed by wishful thinking, and the one who scorns wisdom will not suddenly embrace it because of your love. The Stoics, hard as their counsel may sound, save us from regret by urging vigilance at the beginning when choice is still ours to make. And so, the Stoic path of love is neither cynical nor naive. It is neither the denial of affection nor the surrender to passion. It is the middle way of wisdom to love deeply, but with eyes open, to delight in another, but to choose them for their character, to embrace passion, but not to be ruled by it. It is to choose a partner not for the glitter of a season, but for the endurance of a lifetime. Marcus Aurelius, reflecting on his own blessings, gave thanks for those who shaped him, who lived with him in virtue, who strengthened him by their presence. He knew that relationships are not accidents, but gifts, and the greatest gift is a companion in the pursuit of the good. If fortune grants you such a partner, be grateful. If reason warns you away from one who lacks virtue, be strong. For regret is the fruit of blindness, but peace is the fruit of wisdom. To choose with wisdom, then, is to live without regret. To ignore the Stoic counsel is to risk chains that no passion can sweeten. But to follow it is to find, perhaps, not perfection, but partnership, a union of souls striving together toward virtue, steady in hardship, grateful in blessing, clear in purpose. This is the Stoic vision of love, not an escape from life, but a joining of lives in the art of living well. And if you choose with such wisdom, then when the years have passed, when age has worn the body and fortune has shifted its tides, you will look at the one beside you and see not only a partner, but a fellow traveler of the soul. And in that moment, you will know that you chose rightly and that regret has no place in your home. Now, if any part of this message has been helpful to you, leave us your like and comment, helping the algorithm recommend it to someone who needs it at this time. Don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss new videos. And if you look through the videos we've already uploaded, you're sure to find something to take with you. Have a good day.